Hey y'all, welcome back to Crime Time with Mal. Oh my gosh. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry for not uploading last week's video on Thursday. My last video, if you did not know, my voice was going in and out, and I thought it would be okay to film by Thursday, but I was not, and my voice just ended up getting worse. And then by the beginning of this week, last week, some scary stuff happened with the job that I was working at part-time, so I ended up just quitting that. I was basically scared for my safety, so I just quit that, and I was on the job hunt, found a few jobs that offered me a position. So yeah, I accepted a job. I have another interview tomorrow to make sure that this is actually the job that I want. So cross your fingers. It's just something part-time just to get me out of the house. So yeah, that is the update, and it's just been nuts. But I am feeling better. I wanted to say thank you to everybody that sent me some sweet messages and all y'all's kind comments. Y'all are just amazing, and every time I see comments that y'all share, it just warms my heart, and I can't thank y'all enough for all your support. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump in and let's talk about what today's video is about. As you can tell by the title, now you might have heard about this, you might not. I have heard about it, I think a lot, because it is from Georgia, and some of my family members live in the Griffin area, or actually they used to, they don't anymore. So I just have heard a lot about this case, and it's mind-boggling. Like, seriously, one of the most bizarre cases that I have ever came across or covered on my channel. And it's unlike anything that I've actually ever done, because it's not an unsolved or a missing case, or even they say it's solved, but Jessica's alive and she is well. I know I've said this in a couple of my videos, but y'all have got to like and share this video, because we need to get Jessica justice. I mean, she needs justice. This is absolutely insane, and I cannot believe the so far outcome of this case. So if y'all want to hear more about what happened to Jessica, then keep watching. I need to put a disclaimer out, just like in every single video. I need to do disclaimers. Please don't reach out to anybody I mention in this video and send them hate. This video is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. We need to spread awareness about this case for Jessica, to try to get it out in the public, try to get them to reopen this case, because by the end of it, y'all are gonna be just as probably pissed off as I was. Let's go ahead and get started. Jessica and Matthew met when Jessica was a sophomore in high school at Spalding County High School in Griffin, Georgia. Griffin, Georgia is a very, very small town, just like a lot of towns here in Georgia. It's very small. This happened on April 14th, 2016. Jessica was 19 years old at the time. Jessica and Matthew married, I believe, when they graduated high school. On October 24th, 2015, Jessica and Matthew shared 2 children together, 2-year-old Tolan and 8-month-old Tyler. Shortly after, Matthew started his dream job as a Griffin County police officer. And the sheriff of the Griffin County Department was Matthew's grandpa, Wendell Beam. So this police department was a small town police department. They had a reputation of protecting their boys in blue, their brotherhood, their fellows, you know, their police department. But they had a reputation for kind of going to the extreme about it. Matthew and Jessica were very much in love until, you know, their love and the stress of parenthood just became really toxic, and it was not a good environment. One of Jessica and Matthew's neighbors had witnessed the downfall of their relationship and said that they both mutually wanted a divorce. So one day, I think it was a few weeks or days prior to this incident on April 24th, 2016, But Matthew called his brothers in blue. He did not call like a dispatcher, police department or anything. He called his fellow police officers and told them that Jessica was physically abusing Matthew. And because of this allegation, Jessica starts keeping this red notebook, a dirty divorce notebook. And in there, she writes everything that Matthew did wrong. The time, the date, everything. You know, if any of y'all have gone through a divorce or witnessed a divorce, if it's pretty ugly, that's not uncommon. Actually, a lot of lawyers tell them to write down something, you know, especially if they're fighting for custody and stuff, they tell them to write down events that happen throughout the day. And both of them wanted custody of both of their kids. Around 9 p.m. that night, April 14th, 2016, Matthew calls the lieutenant on duty and says that Jessica is being violent and poking him in the chest really hard, which is considered domestic violence. Jessica, to get away, goes to the neighbor's house that I just mentioned and starts, you know, just confiding in her neighbor. Meanwhile, the neighbor says that Matthew was calling Jessica and said that she needed to go to Walmart to get some baby formula. The neighbor said that she just feels something is off, and she tells Jessica after they go get formula for the baby just to come back here and, you know, keep her distance. She just wanted her to come back to her apartment. But Jessica never comes back to her apartment. So a security camera at Walmart catches Jessica, Matthew, and their 2 children walking into Walmart around 2:15 p.m. that evening. Shortly after that, an argument with what appears to be catched on camera in the baby aisle, and Jessica storms out of Walmart with 8-month-old Tyler in her arms. Matthew then calls another officer and says that Jessica is refusing to leave with him, but video surveillance shows that they both get into Matthew's truck together and leave. Now, the neighbor says that she tried to reach Jessica all night long after she left her apartment, and she never once got a hold of Jessica again. And she became kind of concerned. Well, really concerned. Matthew claims that he arrived home at 11 p.m. and his proof was actually the cop, the Griffin County cop that came on scene to file the domestic violence report. Now this is where it's confusing to me. So neighbors, not just the neighbor that I mentioned in this video, but other neighbors reported that they heard shots come from the apartment around 11. Now this is inconsistent from when Matthew called and reported these shots. So stay with me, we'll get to that in just a second, okay? So Matthew states when he left Walmart, he was alone and went back to his residence alone. Okay, and he arrived around 11 p.m. But again, the video surveillance shows different. The video shows that they all got into Matthew's black truck and left. But then around midnight, he left the apartment to go meet a fellow officer, Joshua Guthrie, at Waffle House. But before he left, Jessica made this weird request and was acting weird, saying that she was hunched over and he thought she was having anxiety, asked for an ambulance, you know, I guess having trouble breathing. But then she stood up and just closed the door in his face. So he left to go to Waffle House. And then when Matthew pulls into the parking lot, he receives a text from Jessica saying, "I can't do this anymore. Take care of Tolan and Tyler, and please tell them I love them every day. I've been suffering for a while now and no one has noticed. Here lately, I have not been able to recognize the person I see in the mirror. This is not the first time I've had thoughts. I love you and the boys." Matthew immediately calls a friend at dispatch and asks them to send somebody out to the apartment that his wife just texted him and was having thoughts, and the boys are there and he was scared. But he was on his way back to the apartment, just didn't know if he would make it back in time for anything bad to happen. Matthew makes it back to the apartment before any law enforcement could get to the apartment, and he says that he hears baby Tyler crying and he heard a quote unquote pop pop, 2 shots fired. He runs to the closet where he keeps his service notice that it's locked, and he runs out and he calls the cops. I'll link down below the 911 calls, but he did call 911, said that he heard 2 shots fired. He smelled gun smoke and he couldn't get in there where his kids were, and he was, you know, freaking out. He sounded pretty distraught, and his reasoning for not going inside to get his kids was that he just didn't know what Jessica's intentions were. He didn't know if she was gonna, you know, do that to herself and then the kids and then him, or he just didn't know. But a lot of people are questioning this, meaning like a lot of outsiders looking in, reporters, stuff like that, are questioning that statement, because you're a trained police officer and those are your 2 kids in there. I'm sorry, but if those were my 2 kids, I would be knocking down everything to get to them, to making sure that they were okay. So moments later, police arrive on scene, and I will link again down below the body cam footage of this, because you guys, I don't know. It straight up gives me chills to the bone. If I forget, please somebody comment. I forgot to link it below in my last video and somebody commented and I just linked it real quick. So if I forget, please, please, please comment and remind me and I'll link it below, but I will try not to forget, okay? But you see, and we'll touch base on this more later on in the video, but you do see in this body cam footage that he's got a red sweatshirt on, okay? You guys keep that in mind. He has a red sweatshirt on, but in the Walmart footage of them going to Walmart to pick up baby formula, he's got a gray sweatshirt on. So, and this is the same night. So y'all just keep that in mind, okay? Moving on. The cops walk into the apartment. They find Tyler screaming, which is the 2-year-old. They go and find Tolan, which is the 8-month-old, sleeping. And then they get to the closet. See, it's locked. They can't get in. Nobody's answering. And they decide to kick the door open. When they kick the door open, they see Jessica's lifeless body on the floor. Jessica's head is laying on a pillow and the pillow is just soaked in red. This body cam footage, it shows everything. So y'all, this is a warning. It is, it's real in your face, like you see it all. So just be prepared, okay? Just be prepared. It's very emotional to me. But in this, you also see on the shelf, the red notebook, the dirty divorce notebook. Keep that also in mind. They're checking out Jessica, you know, just checking the situation out. And they realize that Jessica is alive. Like, this girl is alive, you guys. She is a boss. She's a fighter. So they pick Jessica up and pull her out of the closet and bring her into the master bedroom. And they realize that Matthew's service is under Jessica. Now they're assuming that Jessica herself in the head because that is what Matthew said. And Jessica's hair is so matted and her blonde hair is now soaked in red and they can't even tell where this wound is coming from or anything because it's so matted. They take Jessica to the hospital and Matthew is a wreck. He's crying, saying that, you know, she said that she loved me. I could have been here. I could have helped it. I could have stopped it. The neighbor that I was talking about previously that Jessica went to her house, she sees all the lights outside and immediately she says that she gets this gut feeling and she runs outside and asks them, says, "It's Jessica, isn't it?" And then the neighbor immediately says that Jessica is not, that she would not have done this. And she wouldn't have done this. From everybody that knows Jessica, they know that, you know, she was happy. Even though she was going through this divorce, she was excited about a new life and a new future. So even though Jessica's neighbor said that she did not do this herself, police are treating it as if she did. So they call in Sheriff Beam, remember Matthew's grandpa, and they call the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They discover 2 shell casings and 2 bullet holes on 2 different walls in the closet. They believe Jessica entered the closet, locked it, turned around, and began to herself, facing the back wall of the closet. So one bullet ends up at the top left of the wall, and then the other bullet is at the back wall of the closet at about a foot or a little more off the ground at an upward angle. And It's suspected that that was fired off near the ground. Also, that red dirty divorce diary of Jessica's, a few pages were actually ripped out of that diary. And there was very, very little blood spatter found in the closet, and they found one bullet. Minutes later, Jessica was transported to a local Atlanta hospital, and Sheriff Beam asked deputies, get this, to deliver the news to Jessica's grandparents and family that Jessica herself and has passed away. Passed away. But no, Jessica's alive. Jessica is very much alive. Now it gets crazier. While Jessica is in the hospital, the doctors, when Jessica arrived at the hospital, in order to find out where this wound and bleeding is coming from, they shave Jessica's head and find out that Jessica is in fact not shot. It is due to blunt force injury to her head. She's not shot. She is not shot. Blunt force trauma, okay? Blunt force trauma. I know I keep repeating that. It's just... So there was no burns or like gun residue or anything really found on Jessica's hands. They didn't even test her hands for gun residue, gunpowder residue. And now Jessica is in a medical induced coma. So anybody that knows what happened to Jessica is Jessica and Matthew. One of those people are in the hospital. And the neighbor actually thinks that Matthew tried to take her life, Jessica's life. And just wait, there's more. He was actually cheating on Jessica. You wanna know with who? The dispatch lady. Apparently, Jessica suspected it. She dug for evidence and she found it. She also started documenting all of his affairs in her dirty divorce book. And she even got into his Facebook and printed off messages between him and the dispatch lady. Jessica was stockpiling evidence of him, and the neighbor believes that he found out, got pissed, and tried to take care of it, but actually hit her in the head with his... And she thinks that Matthew is the one that sent that text to Matthew's phone, you know, about Jessica not wanting to do this. And the GBI did question Matthew. Matthew did end up getting questioned, and Matthew admitted that he had this friend that was a girl or is a girl, and they were talking, and that they had recently became, but said that Jessica's doing the same thing, and that actually the 8-month-old is not Matthew's, and that he is actually this mechanics that Jessica was talking to when Matthew and her were having some trouble, and they were separated, and she met him though while looking for a wedding venue for her and Matthew. He also said that he did not, so you hear in the interview, which I will try to find and link down below, the police officer says, did you change your clothes? Is this what you've been wearing all night? Which, no, it's not, because there's video evidence of it not. And Matthew says yes, after all the chaos, he didn't have time to change his clothes, and he offered his clothes up to the investigators, see if they wanted to test it for anything, for evidence or anything that they needed. But he assured them that these were the same clothes he was wearing all night long, and that he also didn't wash his hands, that they were more than welcome to test his hands, but they didn't, and they did not take Matthew's clothes. And just like that, the interview was over. So I found Jessica doing an interview, and Jessica says that she does not remember really anything. The last thing she remembers is being in that closet, and then she woke up in the hospital. But she does know that she said that she never tried to herself, and she would never ever commit or try to. She said that her wound was on the top of her head, and if she did try to do anything, when you shoot yourself like this, it's very unlikely to do that, as well as blunt force trauma to the top of your head. You can't really necessarily do that either. They also said that statistically, it's very unlikely for a woman to commit in that type of manner by herself. My opinion, the police definitely dropped the ball in this. I'm not sure if it was negligence or a cover-up or both. I really want to know what y'all think, but let's continue because it's not over. So Jessica, again, doesn't remember anything, but she does believe that Matthew tried to hurt her and her. She believes that, you know, in the heat of the moment, Matthew got pissed off at something that he found and ended up hitting her over the head. Didn't necessarily mean to take her life, but in the heat of the moment, it happened. At least she said that she doesn't want to think that he was trying to do that. And police officers looked for no objects or anything in the closet. They didn't test the gun, nothing, because they went off of Matthew's word, the fact that she was suicidal and she shot herself in the apartment. And about that text, Jessica said that she definitely did not write that. And she says that because she said that it sounds like absolutely nothing Jessica would say. And in fact, she knows that she would not say that because she said, "I love you" to him. She said, "I don't love him." In fact, pretty much, to be kindly, she hated him at that point. They were going through a very rough, nasty divorce, and her feelings towards him were anything but love, honey. So she said, there ain't no way in hell that I would have said I love you. She said she does think also that Matthew wrote that text, you know, to cover his tracks. He read and found her divorce diary that was discussing his affairs and plotting to take full custody of the two kids. She said he got enraged. Pages were missing, obviously, that did not want to be read. He did not want them in public, and he tore those pages out. But she says she cannot remember, of course, because she got hit in the head, what was on these pages. GBI closed this case and cleared Matthew to continue to work. And Jessica is furious, as I'm sure anybody would if they were in Jessica's shoes, saying that if this was any other regular guy off the street, he would be in jail right now. But because he is a police officer and Griffin County Sheriff's Department is just not known very good for their reputation, that he's walking around free right now. But GBI came out with the final report, and in that report, it declares Jessica dead. And I'm pretty sure that this was months after Jessica was released from the hospital. So what in the world? Jessica says she does not think this is a mistake, and it's just crazy. This is like stuff you hear on Lifetime movies. So there's this guy named Will Sanders. He is a truck driver, but in his down and free time, he goes through old cases and weird, bizarre, you know, just cases. He came across Jessica's case and just was dumbfounded. He collected every single piece of evidence from this case, because when GBI closed the case, they gave all the evidence over to Jessica, which then in turn gave it over to Will. And Will said that Matthew's time of events are completely incorrect. There's a few oh my God, you guys. There's a few discrepancies, we're just gonna go with it, that he found. Number one being the red sweatshirt. You guys, I noticed this as soon as I saw the Walmart footage, and my hair is driving me nuts, I need to cut it. As soon as I saw the Walmart footage, and I noticed it as soon as I saw that body cam footage, I was like, wait, is that the same day? That can't be the same day. It was. And the fact that, you know, he offered to give it up for evidence, but it wasn't collected for evidence. Nothing was collected for evidence. And nobody questioned him why there was a change in wardrobe on scene. You know what I mean? That was never questioned. Number two, phone records that Will found the same time that Matthew was calling 911. He was also texting his mistress. So he was telling 911 that he was so worried about his wife, but then texting his mistress, like laugh out loud. I don't know. He was like making a joke from an earlier text that she sent him, and was just like responding to it and was like laugh out loud something. Like what? There's also a crime scene photo that Will notices of Matthew's phone on the counter in the kitchen in front of the microwave. Officer said he left it in the kitchen and then ran outside. But Will questioned how he was texting his mistress from his phone if he never re-entered the apartment. And he said to officers that he went into the apartment, noticed what was going on and immediately left and then called 911. So he called 911 when he wasn't even in the apartment, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. And then number 3, the thing that Will found most alarming was the time frame that Matthew said he heard that pop pop sound, and neighbors said again that they heard that same sound around 11 p.m. But Matthew is the only one, and actually around 11 p.m. there were a few people that called in that sound, okay? But Matthew is the only one that heard those gunshot noises around 1 a.m. when he called. And also, if y'all click on that video of the body cam footage that I saw of, you know, them getting Jessica out of the closet, you see spatter on the wall, but everything was reportedly done in the closet. So why is there any type of whatsoever in the bedroom, and why wasn't this looked at? And Matthew was actually arrested, but he was not arrested for what we hope it was for. 7 months after the shooting of Jessica, Jessica filed a police report with the Griffin County Sheriff's Department saying that Matthew hasn't returned her belongings. She had a bunch of clothes and a retainer that Matthew still had possession of. But Matthew actually signed like an affidavit or a statement saying that he returned all of Jessica's belongings, that he did not have any of her clothes, and specifically did not have this retainer. But Matthew's new girlfriend found a gym bag that had Jessica's clothes and retainer in there. And this is what the girlfriend told Will, that, you know, she had it and she found it. So they brought Matthew in for questioning on this bag. And, you know, police department said, we specifically asked you if you had anything of Jessica's. You said no. And they were kind of lecturing him, yes, on, you know, this is against ethical code. Like, you can't do this. You know better than to do stuff like this. You should have given it to us. And he just, you know, pretty much kept making excuses, in my opinion. And Matthew resigned from the police department before he was fired. But he was not charged for violating his oath or for making false statements. And 4 months later, he got hired on to another police department. 2017, Matthew's grandpa, you know, Sheriff Beam, he was voted out of office, and a new sheriff arrived and found 9 industrial-sized trash bags filled with shredded paper. If that tells y'all anything about this department. Like, what was all that shredded paper? So please, you guys, start sharing this, because this is insane, and the injustice in this case is unbelievable. And retired homicide detective Tim Miley, who has worked on hundreds and hundreds of homicide and cases, reviews Jessica's files, and he said there's no spatter anywhere in the closet. He also said it does not have the appearance of a maybe a foul play or an accident, but definitely not a. So Will, you know, the truck driver that has all the evidence on Jessica's case, he says that he has not opened any of this dirty diary or anything, because he's hoping that if Jessica's case does get reopened, that all this will be sealed and evidence will be preserved, and nothing will be tampered with, and hopefully that they can test this book for DNA to see if they can find Matthew's fingerprints or any of his DNA on it, considering that, you know, it's less likely that Jessica would willingly show him this book, considering of what all is in it. So if there is DNA or his fingerprints on it, then that should show a motive of something. So again, this case is closed. It's closed, you guys. Like, I cannot believe it. So y'all go watch True Crime Daily, and there's some documentaries also on this case. If y'all have not heard of it, please, please, please like this video. Let's get this case reopened. Call up Griffin County Sheriff's Department. Do whatever you can to help get justice for Jessica, because this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, and my heart goes out to her. You know, she went through a lot of stuff after this happened, obviously, with this thing. They're saying, you know, Jessica couldn't be around the kids, and that eventually, luckily, ended up getting straightened out. She ended up getting full custody of her kids because of something that the little 2-year-old said, saying that, you know, he didn't trust Matthew. So courts ordered it that he not be able to see the kids, Matthew not be able to see the kids, and I don't believe he's seen them since then. Share this video. Let's spread the word for Jessica. Get this case reopened. Spread awareness. Let's get justice for Jessica. That is what I want more than anything. So I really appreciate all y'all's support. I mean, y'all are amazing. I say this all the time. So y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all more than you know. Thank you for being so patient with me. I promise I will get back on my Tuesday, Thursday schedule here soon. And I love y'all more than words can say. As always, please be nice in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think about this case. Do y'all think it was injustice? Do you think it was an accident? You think she actually tried to do this to herself? What do y'all think? Let me know. I love hearing y'all's opinions and your comments down below. I love reading them. So thank you. Please, again, be nice down below. You never know somebody's battles. It costs 0 cents to be kind to somebody. So just do it, you guys. In the world that we live in, we need that more than ever, just to be kind to somebody. So thank you so much for everything. And I will see y'all in my next video. Y'all are amazing, and I hope y'all have a great week. And it's almost Thanksgiving. I hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate it. I love y'all, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.